Hi, Chad and Gadi. I'm here recording with Abel. I'm going to be his communications person, but please direct any questions and issues to him as I'm not involved. I'm not touching the code. I'm simply guiding him. You can think of me as his advisor. And I'm sort of communicating what I've heard from him. And we just had a meeting where we went through what he has been working on. So I wanted to share some of that with you, give you sort of a heads up of where he is, and also expand on what we think are the next steps. So he started out by doing a course from the Linux Foundation. He enjoyed that quite a bit. He thought it was a great course. That's just passing on some of that feedback. He's also been working on MIT's Introduction to Computer Science and Programming. This is a great beginning course. It's tough, but I think it's quite rewarding. And a lot of the fundamentals of computing are addressed through this course. It happens to be in Python, but as we've been talking about, it doesn't really matter. It's got some great content within it. He also spent some time working on Docker, mostly on the newest version of the client, the one that integrates seamlessly into the OS. That went pretty smoothly. And within this last week, he has focused a lot of his time on Node.js, especially within the non-blocking computational model that is within Node.js. When it comes to integrating different APIs, you're certainly no longer working on a synchronous model. And so getting your mind around an async, non-blocking, eventing model can take a bit, so you can feel comfortable in it. And so he's been doing that work on Node throughout this past week. He's enjoyed Node. He's made several comments, for example, of saying how easy it is to get going, how easy it is to download and integrate modules. And I simply mentioned this because it ties into what I mentioned initially in the email, that this could be a great way to bring people on board and get them extending or working on the platform that you're working on. He then showed me yesterday afternoon Firecloud. I should commend you on what you're doing here. It's bringing in together the API very elegantly, and you have something here that is certainly going to facilitate carrying out computations on top of the data that you have, the TCGA data, and the model that you have within the slides where you bring in tools, combine that with data, the whole checkout process and so on. It's actually quite clean. So anyway, we took a look at that yesterday afternoon. He showed me how to run one of these tutorials. It's pretty seamless, pretty straightforward. We then navigated over to the API and we started to inspect a bit of what this interface is, what the parameters are, and poked around a little bit. Going back to Firecloud, we started to look a little bit behind the scenes of what the code is doing, and we could see there that calls were being made to this API. For example, in this case, you're calling the workspaces method, and the follow-on you're checking on the queue status for submissions. So we can see how all of this is coming together. Based on the email that Chad sent, we saw that integrating a visualization component into this framework would fit pretty well. We wanted to just replay that back to you, make sure that we are hearing the same thing that you're saying, and also talk about next steps. So I think by this point, he's stretched and feels pretty comfortable with the programming model of Node, of MPN, and he's got the fundamentals under his belt, and also just building on some of the visualization he's done before. He's ready sort of to take it to the next step. So I wanted to ask about a next meeting. I'm in MIT tomorrow. I have a group from Hong Kong that's coming in, so I have time at a few spots during the day, so it'd be a good time. If that's not good for you, I think next week has a few possibilities, so let us know what works for you, and we can go from there. So I wanted to make this brief, just sort of an update, checking in of where we are, what Able has done, and to talk about the next meeting. So that's it. Goodbye.